15 years ago today, an innocent 14-year-old boy vanished off the face of the earth. Today I want to talk about missing British boy Andrew Gosden. Andrew mysteriously disappeared at the age of 14 from London in the UK. The last known final sighting of Andrew was captured on CCTV footage at King's Cross train station in central London. If Andrew is indeed still alive, he will have recently turned 29. I really want the public to see Andrew's face, to hear his name, to look at his ear, which is quite unusual. Please keep your eye out for Andrew, especially in the London area. I'm going to show you some age-progressed images of Andrew now, so you can all see what Andrew potentially looks like today. Earlier this year, on the 11th of January, South Yorkshire Police confirmed that on the 8th of December last year, 2021, two men aged 38 and 45 were arrested on suspicion of kidnapping and human trafficking. Both of these men were released under investigation whilst inquiries continue. As far as I am aware, these are the first arrests that have been made in Andrew's case. After the arrest of the two men, it was also confirmed by South Yorkshire Police that their devices had been taken into the police's custody, and that shockingly it could take up to 1 year to obtain every piece of information on these electronic devices. Hopefully, if there is evidence on these devices, it will be found by the police, and if these men really are involved in Andrew's disappearance, I hope they are sent away and Andrew Gosden finally gets justice. So I would like to give a brief overview of Andrew's case, just in case there is anyone watching my video that doesn't know what happened to Andrew. On the date of Andrew's disappearance, which as I said before was the 14th of September 2007, Andrew was supposed to go to school, but he didn't go to school. He set off via train from his hometown in Doncaster, which is in England, and he travelled to King's Cross train station in central London. The images captured of Andrew on CCTV leaving King's Cross train station are the last known images of Andrew. It has never been known exactly why Andrew didn't go to school and decided to go to London on his own at age 14. Now, there were a couple of concerts going on that he might have been interested in, but did he go there specifically to meet someone? Now, bear in mind, Andrew disappears in 2007. Most kids in the UK did not have mobile phones. It has been confirmed by his parents that he didn't have a mobile, but he did have gadgets that he used to play computer games on. Now, some of these gadgets are capable of connecting to the internet, and could Andrew have been speaking to someone, maybe via a game on the internet, or via some other place, maybe a forum, or some other website? That is still unknown, but what is known is that Andrew withdrew £200 from his personal account and set off for London. Something that's very interesting to note in Andrew's case is that he bought a one-way ticket to King's Cross, not a return. He was offered a return ticket by the person who sold him the ticket in the train station at Doncaster, but he refused. The person remembered speaking to Andrew, I believe it was a woman, and she told Andrew that if he bought a return ticket, it would be much cheaper than buying two singles. He refused and confirmed he only wished to purchase a single ticket. I do find that quite weird. He was a young kid. He obviously didn't have loads of money. I don't think his family were rich. So why did he choose to buy a one-way ticket and not a return? I've always found that very mysterious, and it leads me to believe that Andrew planned to go to London and he potentially didn't want to go home. As far as Andrew's parents were concerned, Andrew was going to go to school. Andrew left for school as normal, or so his family thought, but he didn't. He went and sat in a park near to his home and waited for his parents to leave for work. Once he knew his family were gone, he returned home and gathered what he needed to make his escape to London. Now, there was CCTV images of Andrew on his way to the train station in Doncaster, and I'm showing you those images now. So we definitely know he travelled to Doncaster train station. We definitely know he made it to King's Cross, but once he walks out the doors of King's Cross train station, he vanishes into thin air. Now, there have been some reported sightings, but none of them have ever been confirmed. It is thought that Andrew boarded a train at 9:35 a.m. from Doncaster and that he arrived in London at King's Cross train station at approximately 11:20 a.m. He was seen on the train by other people who said he was playing a computer game on a device and kept himself to himself and just seemed like a normal kid travelling alone on the train. At one point during a massive search for Andrew, the River Thames was looked in, searched, and fortunately Andrew's body was not found. So I just want to go through a bit more about Andrew's last day at home. Apparently when he woke up he was very irritable, but he got up as normal and got dressed for school. Andrew was quite a young looking boy. He probably looked more like 11 or 12 than 14. Andrew was always known to turn up for school. He was not a truant, so the fact that he skipped classes to go off to London unannounced, unplanned, maybe, and not telling anyone really was out of character for Andrew. Once he knew the coast was clear and his parents were gone, as I said, he'd sat at a park waiting for his parents to go to work. He returned home and got changed. He changed into a black Slipknot t-shirt, and if you're not aware, Slipknot are a band. And he also wore a pair of dark-coloured jeans. He bundled his school clothes into the washing machine, which was his daily routine. He laid his school blazer neatly over a chair in his room. Andrew put on a messenger bag, picked up his PSP, which is a little computer that you play games on, but he didn't take his charger. Now, had he been planning on staying in London for the night or for the foreseeable future, just why didn't he take his charger? Or maybe, as I've often wondered, did he leave the charger at home so his parents thought he'd return? And maybe the search wouldn't be raised as quickly because he'd not taken all of his valuable items, valuable possessions. Now, this PSP device could be a device that Andrew spoke to someone online on. It's indeed possible that he was speaking to an adult or someone on a game. Now, I don't know how computer literate Andrew's parents were or whether they ever checked his device. I don't own a PSP and I never have. The last device I owned that was like that was a Game Boy, and that certainly did not have the internet on it. But did his parents check what he was doing when he was playing this game? Did they check who he played the game with? Were they adults? Were they children? Were any checks like this made? I highly doubt it, because most parents, in my opinion, don't know what their kids are doing on the internet, and teenagers are very crafty and they do have a very good way of hiding things from their parents. I've also wondered, did Andrew ever visit a local library where in 2007 people would have been able to use the internet on a PC in their local library, or perhaps at their school? I would like to think schools do checks and don't let children on any old website, but who's to say what website Andrew may have been speaking to somebody on? Was it via a game? Was it in a forum? Was it on a website like Facebook? Who knows? Also, something else that's really interesting in this case, Andrew had an extra £100 sitting around in his room which he didn't take with him. I find that really weird. £100 was a lot of money when I was 14, and I'm sure it was the same for Andrew. But just why didn't he take this £100 that was in his room? Does this mean that he intended to return? He leaves the charger for his PSP and this £100 at home, which could lead you to believe that he did plan on returning home. As I said, there were a couple of bands that Andrew liked that were playing in London that day. Could he have travelled there on his own to go to a concert and wasn't actually planning on meeting anyone? Did he then meet someone sinister at the concert or at a concert and on the way to a concert? I've always wondered about that. Now, according to Andrew's dad, his dad had previously taken him to a concert in London. So was it something he really enjoyed and wanted to do again? But this time maybe he didn't want to go with his dad and he wanted to go alone. Now, shockingly, it took the police in London 27 days to locate the CCTV images of Andrew at King's Cross train station. It would seem that the investigation was rather incompetent and very slow, and also due to these delays in obtaining CCTV images, by the time certain establishments were asked to provide their CCTV for the day that Andrew disappeared, they'd already wiped it or deleted it, because most companies do not keep CCTV history over 28 days. So there were plenty of opportunities to maybe see where Andrew went on other CCTV images that could have been found from other cameras in the centre of London, but this opportunity was missed, disgustingly missed, because the police were too slow to ask companies to provide their CCTV. I have to say, I find that outrageous. 27 days to ask for the CCTV when it was known that he'd travelled to King's Cross. Really? That is a massive red flag for the British police. The alarm was raised when Andrew's family realised he'd not joined them for dinner. His parents had presumed when they returned from work that Andrew was playing computer games in his room. Obviously he was not. Something else to note. 2 weeks before Andrew disappeared, he changed the way that he would normally go home. He stopped using a bus and began to walk. Now, if that had been me as a teenage girl, I'm pretty sure the only reason I would have done that would be to avoid someone. Now, unless I was an overweight kid and maybe I wanted to lose some weight by walking, he wasn't an overweight looking kid, so I don't think we can say that. I imagine Andrew was avoiding someone, and was he being bullied at school, and is that why he chose to disappear to London? It is also known that Andrew liked a TV programme called The Fall and Rise of Reginald Perrin, which was a TV show based on a series of books, and it was about a middle-aged man who grew bored with life and faked his own death to start afresh. Could it be that Andrew found inspiration from this TV programme, and did he decide to start a new life in London? One other theory in Andrew's case, which is extremely heartbreaking, is that perhaps Andrew went to London to take his own life. He went off to have one last fun day and ended his life somewhere in London. I have to say, I don't really buy that. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I don't feel he took himself off to London to end his life, because when someone ends their life, especially a teenager, I find it highly unlikely that they'd travel from Doncaster to London, which is quite a distance, to end their life. If they were going to end their life outside of their family home, I would have thought he would have done it nearer to Doncaster and not in London. Obviously, guys, I could be wrong, but my opinion of this is that Andrew potentially come to harm in London and maybe was killed. Obviously, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope and I pray that Andrew is out there alive. This is such an odd case. 15 long years have passed with no trace of Andrew. Could he have been trafficked? Could there have been some sort of awful people that he came into contact with that did something really, really sinister to Andrew? I really hope that's not true, and I really hope that one day soon Andrewgosden is found. So guys, have you heard of this case? If you're in the UK, I'm guessing you may have done, because it's a very famous case. I can't believe there's still no trace of Andrew. Perhaps if the police hadn't have been so incompetent and had asked for CCTV a lot sooner, they could have traced Andrew's steps after he left King's Cross train station. There was a reported sighting of him in Covent Garden and in a fast food restaurant, but none of these sightings can be confirmed. These images here are the last known images of 14-year-old Andrew Gosden. Andrew could now be a 29-year-old man, but where is he? Is he alive? Is he dead? I suspect he may have come to harm. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope and I pray that one day Andrewgosden is found safe. So guys, please do share your thoughts with me on this tragic case. Pop me a comment below and let me know what you think about what happened to Andrewgosden. Well, anyway guys, as always, I'll look forward to reading your thoughts. Bye for now.